What exactly is the Texans wide receiver power ranking now that OTAs and minicamp are finished and summer vacation is here for the team? Just a few weeks away from Texans training camp. That'll get going in the middle of July. And I felt like it'd be a great time to give you a lay of the land of where these wide receivers are stacking up. Look, we're all wondering who's going to be wide receiver one. And I feel like the answer to that question is probably always going to be whoever's open. But ultimately, how are they stacking up in the workouts? How have they looked? And it gives us a nice jumping off point for when training camp does start to kind of pay attention, not just to the 1, 2, 3 order with the top 3 on this team, but the 4, 5, and the 6 for this team if they do indeed keep 6 wide receivers, and I expect that they will. We start with number 1, Nico Collins. He has looked fantastic in the workouts. Now, it's worth noting that the media got to see 4 of the workouts. So they've had far more, but the media got to see those 4 workouts, and Nico Collins picked up right where he left off. He looks fantastic. He looks speedy. He's physical. He is crisp on these routes, and he's running them. It feels like blazing fast at the wide receiver spot. I was watching him do drills. It was actually the day after he got his big contract. It was an OTA practice, and he was doing the drills so fast and so quick. And D'Amico Ryans talks a lot about how players play a lot faster and play better when they're confident. Confidence has got to be through the roof for Nico Collins. He's got the big contract extension. Now he's got to live up to it, and it certainly looks like he's putting in the work to make sure that he lives up to it. He's gotten Derek Stingley a couple of times in the mini camps and OTA workouts, so Nico Collins checks in at number 1. Now, this is the most razor-thin margin between 2 and 3. It was a close call. Well, don't have a close call with your air conditioner. My friends at Platinum AC and Heating will take care of you. My guy, Dwyane, is the man when it comes to taking care of your air conditioner needs. From repairs to replacements to that little tune-up here as summertime has arrived, getting you ready for the coldest air you can have blowing out of your AC all summer long. You may not even know that your AC could be blowing colder air, working less hard, saving you money. Yeah, Dwyane's already got the best prices and service in town, but he can save you even more when you give him a call today. The number right there on the screen, the number in the description down below as well. 2 and 3, man, razor thin margin between 2 and 3. I'm going to go with Tank Dell at number 2. I feel like he looks better than last year. He looks quick. He's speedy. The confidence that he's talked about in the system, being deeper in the offense and deeper in the playbook, and just how fast he looks like he can go with this. And I know he's coming back off of a broken leg and the unfortunate shooting incident, but he doesn't look like he's missed a beat. In fact, I feel like he's better, and there's a really good chance that he is even better than he was last year when he was one of the better rookie wide receivers in all of football before his injury. So he checks in at number 2, and right behind him at number 3 is obviously Stefon Diggs. Now, again, it could very easily flip Diggs and Tank Dell on this one. Diggs has had some really nice moments against Derek Stingley. He's had some really nice moments against some other defensive backs for the Texans. Kamari Lassiter had a couple of successful reps against Stefon Diggs, and I think there's still a timing element, getting used to a new quarterback, getting used to a new offense that Diggs is going to work through. And again, it's very close to Tank Dell. I would expect at different portions throughout the year, Diggs and Dell to swap spots, heck, maybe even Diggs and Collins to swap spots. But right now, I'm going to put Diggs solidly at 3. And I don't think that's a bad thing. He just got to catch up, get used to CJ Stroud. Stroud's got to get used to him. Remember, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, okay, they've got a 1-year start with the quarterback. Stefon Diggs got some work to do to catch up, but it won't take him long to catch those top 2. So 1, 2, and 3, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Stefon Diggs. Who's number 4? How about John Mechie? Finally showcasing why he was a second-round pick with some of the explosiveness and quickness to his game. He was really good his final year at Alabama. Then he had the ACL injury. Then he had the unfortunate cancer situation his first year in the NFL, and he was just working back from it all last year. It looks like a totally different player. He's faster. He's quicker. He looks like he knows a lot more about what he's supposed to do and execute from the wide receiver position. He drew a lot of praise from D'Amico Ryans. CJ Stroud has been telling us since the throwing exercises in California with Mechie that Mechie looks different. He's ready to go. And in a few workouts, he's looked really solid. If Mechie is a worthwhile and productive wide receiver, it adds so much depth to this wide receiver room that's already super deep with the top three. But if Mechie can be a really good 4, better than some of the other 4th wide receivers around the NFL, then that wide receiver room just gets so scary for opposing defenses. And that 4th spot, be it Mechie or whoever else ultimately takes it, is going to be a big indicator on how scary this wide receiver room can stay throughout the course of the year. We know the way this offense operates, they like to keep those guys fresh. So you're going to see some Diggs on the field with Mechie, some Dell on the field with Mechie, Xavier Hutchinson, whoever else is the 5, 6, and 4 wide receiver for this team. You're going to see them mixed in there. They like to keep the wide receivers fresh out there on the field when CJ Stroud is out there slinging it around. So Mechie checks in at number 4. Number 5, guy that had a big play in the playoffs on special teams last year, but making some big plays in the workouts so far, Steven Sims. That's right, Steven Sims checking in at 5 for me. And look, it's been against lesser cornerback competition. He hasn't been going against the Kamari Lassiters and the Derek Stingleys, but he's made the most of a lot of his opportunities, and he's caught some absolute bombs down the sideline, and he's gotten open on some deep passes down the sideline as well, that maybe the quarterback trying to adjust to the coverage was just a little bit too deep on some of that stuff. But Sims, with his special teams usefulness, which kind of boosts his value to this team and some of the success that he's had in these workouts, I'm putting him in there at number 5. But just like 2 and 3, 5 and 6, a razor-thin margin. No, not Razor Ramon, but a razor-thin margin. Xavier Hutchinson checking in at number 6 for me. He's had some really impressive moments. Stroud's found him. Mills has found him. And look, Hutchinson's got a body type, and if the speed comes along and the play speed, because he's confident in the offense, comes along, that's a really fun 6th wide receiver. Okay, that's a 6 wide receiver that could be higher on other teams' depth charts if he continues to develop. And he's in a dogfight for a roster spot when you start thinking about some of the other options on this team. So Xavier Hutchinson, he's had some nice moments. He's really close to Sims. If you asked some of the people who else has been out there watching, maybe they'd flip them. Maybe they'd go Hutchinson 5, Sims 6. But again, very close. But that's the top 6 right there. Who's not on the top 6 that should be considered? Well, Noah Brown hasn't been practicing. He's got a shoulder injury that he's recovering from still, but he could very easily find himself as the 4th wide receiver, pushing everybody else down the board. Ben Skoranek doesn't check in the top 6. I've just seen a tiny bit more out of Sims and out of Hutchinson than I have out of Skoranek. Obviously, Skoranek's usefulness is intensely on special teams, with hopefully some usefulness on the offense. Jared Wayne has had a play or 2. D'Amico Ryans talked about him after one of these workouts. It's a guy that's finally healthy in a shot to try to make an NFL roster. So that's another name. And then Jaden Youngke's made a couple of really nice plays. I mean, he skied for one in an OTA practice and just ripped it out of the air. He shook loose from Max Tooley and sent Tooley into another dimension on another one. That's an fellow undrafted free agent. So Jaden Youngke had some nice moments. Jackson Youngke hasn't been practicing much. Looks like he's dealing with a little bit of lower body injury. That's my speculation. Nobody's told me, but he's wearing one of those big compression sleeves on one of his legs, which usually means you dinged up a little bit. But hey, this is just the ranking after some end of off-season workouts. This will change fast and furiously throughout training camp, which gets going in the middle of July. And the Texans were almost going to need their extra training camp reps to figure out who's the 4, who's the 5, who's the 6 for this team, who's a practice squad candidate in case somebody gets banged up. It is going to be a very fun position group to watch throughout the course of training camp. Of course, I'll be there. People say it's boots on the ground. I say it's Stoots on the ground for you at every training camp practice, giving you the observations, which you can check out at Houston Football, where I do all my writing about the Houston Texans. That link is in the description down below. And in the description, again, you'll find out about our friends at Platinum AC and Heating. When I tell you that Dwyane wants to come out, make sure your AC is running right, and talk Texans with you, I mean it. 5-star rated by the Better Business Bureau, Platinum AC and Heating has the best prices and best service in town. Get your AC a tune-up ahead of these hot summer months. I know you're using the AC a ton. Do you know it might be able to blow colder air than it is right now? That tune-up will get you squared away, and it'll save you some money because the AC won't have to work as hard because it's going to be in tip-top condition. Okay, just like this wide receiver room hopefully will be by the end of training camp. What say you? Are you surprised by this wide receiver power ranking as we head into the summer break before training camp, or is it about what you expected? Let me know in the comment section down below on your way down there. Throw me a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I can't wait until we talk Texans again soon.